And we are live, I think. Hey, oh yeah, hey everybody, it's Jacob here, and thanks for joining me for this live experiment. This is something I've been wanting to try for a while. It's a new series where I react to different videos that you guys have sent me to check out. It's going to be a little bit like our Lick of the Week series on the Improviser's Guide. There are a few sample lessons of that here on this YouTube channel as well. But different in that for those, I was playing a transcription that I had probably done a while back and knew really well, and I make a fancy worksheet where we break down every element of that person's playing and how they sound the way they sound. For this, I thought we could be a lot more casual about it. So this is going to be run and gun. I've only watched this video 1.5 times. I certainly haven't transcribed it or done anything like that. And today we're going to be doing the cellist Guillaume Latil to kick things off. Two of you guys sent me emails about him, and I was aware of his playing for a while now. He doesn't have a lot of videos on YouTube, but I saw one or two that were very similar to the one we chose today. He's doing the Django Stefan thing, the gypsy swing thing. That seems to be his wheelhouse. That's cool. I didn't want to use any of those older videos because at this point they're so old they're looking pretty pixelated. So I found a newer performance of his, but yeah, pretty much the same kind of stuff going on here. So this is a tune called I Love You. But it's not the I Love You that most of you know, especially if you're into jazz. This one is by someone named Harry Archer. So basically new for me as well. Let's check it out and see if we can feel out some of the tactics and tendencies that he's using, and hopefully I can give you a few nuggets to take back into your own playing, and hopefully this video doesn't completely suck. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like the people's key of F major, very friendly cello key. All right. Pretty cool. Let's listen to that little fill again. Okay, so immediately I notice and hear the sound of a diminished chord. And any gypsy jazz player should have at least a dozen runs that just run that chord in some type of rhythm or sequence. It's just a staple in this style of music. I'm not sure if gypsy jazz musicians didn't know about the diminished scale, but just running the chord kind of seems to be the thing. So Guillaume's doing it from A flat here, and I think what's happening is we've got like a A minor walk down to A flat, diminished walk down to G minor to C dominant 7, right? So kind of like a 3-6-2-5-1 thing happening, and Guillaume's basically ignoring the 3 and just playing the 6, and he's ignoring the 2 and basically just playing the 5. Whenever you have a 2-5, especially in jazz, we tend to, a lot of players tend to just focus on the 5. So he's playing just straight up diminished. Let's listen to it one more time. Yeah, but he's doing something a little special on top. Check this out. A little bit of left hand ghosting. Charming. That's so much nicer than, right? That's not as cool. Now here, for the C, check out the left-hand ghosting he uses for this little arpeggio. It's just C major, right? Over our C dominant 7 chord. But check it out. Check out his left hand. Here, he plays. That little extra little touching of the string, it's a great timing device, but it also adds a nice little elegant cut off to the note and just a slight bit of magic, okay? A nice little gypsy jazz trick. Okay, so the whole lick. Again, a little faster. One of the most common ways to use this diminished sound in gypsy jazz that any gypsy jazz player would know is taking a dominant 7th chord. Let's go into first position and say we have an A dominant 7. If you just raise the root note up a half step, now you've got a fully diminished chord, right? And that's a very, very common sound. So over an A dominant 7, a lot of gypsy jazz guys will just default to a B flat diminished sound, okay? So yeah, it's great to just practice your diminished chords, have them, you know, in different positions, right? Wherever you can find it, right? Et cetera, et cetera. I think about that first Grappelli, his minor swing solo that everybody knows and plays. Kind of a gypsy jazz 101 thing, and that's just like a lexicon of these sort of diminished chord runs. Let's see. So it goes like this. Did you hear that? Right? Kind of a textbook example. Sorry, I'm losing my earpiece here. And then a little bit later in the tune, he just keeps on, almost whenever he gets a chance, he just keeps on playing those types of licks. There's one he goes, right, etc., etc. Sorry if I'm butchering the bowings, Stefan. Okay, moving on. Melody again. We'll turn around. Oh, I like that. Let's listen to that one more time so I can figure out what he's playing. Okay, so there are a couple of things I really like about this. The first one is that when we play gypsy jazz, especially, I think it's kind of the schmaltziest of all art forms. And so players who play in this style are absolutely addicted to having different ornaments, especially different slides, and we sometimes call them fades. At the end of notes, fades because we hide the sound a little bit with bow pressure, so it's not mega obvious. But we want to kind of get creative with these because they can just add, much like that left hand ghosting we saw in the last lick, can add just a little bit of magic. So check out Guillaume's lick here one more time. So we've got a fade going down, really subtle, and then he plays a fade going up, and then he plays a slide up and down. Kind of cool. Let's check it out one more time. It's subtle, but it really makes a big difference. Okay, let's try it. like he's doing a cool bowing thing where he goes, and then he goes 2 down bows, and then he goes 2 down bows again, but this time, instead of kind of retaking the bow, he gets out so he can play a yabba-dabba-dabba-dabba, a jazz bowing lick in just the right part of the bow. Guillaume spends most of his time in the upper half, right? And he's got a pretty good sense, I can tell already, of knowing when to be in which part of the bow to make the lick as easy as possible. So a lot of these double ups and double down bows facilitate that, okay? It's like a pool shot where you're getting yourself in just the right place to set up the next shot. Let's watch him one more time. Sorry. Here it comes. Right, so he goes, and then he plays a little retake, and then, okay, and that is a pretty cool sound. What is that? So he's basically here playing like a 3/6, A minor to D7. So you could think of this as like an A minor chord or an A minor triad, ACE, with an added fourth. E, D, C, A, and then he just repeats the same pitches. Very nice kind of ergonomic pattern on the cello. Feels really good in the fingers. Okay, I think you could also think of this as like an F major chord or an F major sixth chord. Like if you play an F major sixth, just starting from the A, the third. That's an F major sixth chord. We got to have our major sixth chords and minor sixth chords really happening for gypsy jazz or for gypsy swing because that usually is the favored chord as opposed to like a major seventh or a minor seventh, which is what we play in jazz. So anyway, getting back to our F major sixth chord, A, C, E, or D, F. If you lower the F to an E, well, now I'm still just thinking of the tonic chord and scale, but I get a much more suspended sound, right? So now I've got third, fifth, sixth, seventh, instead of third, fifth, sixth, root, okay? And I think that might be how Guillaume is thinking about it. You know, a lot of the time when we play less harmonically sophisticated types of music like this, a lot of the players, or like blues, for example, a lot of the players tend to kind of keep their brain, you know, in the same key and just kind of change a note here or there to give us different harmonic ideas. So that might be what's happening. Let's continue. Also notice at the bottom of this, there's another fade. This one's a little bit bigger. But yeah, there's every variety of those little ways to schlock out the end of a note. Just keep an ear out, and the more sensitive you are to that, probably the better for understanding this style. Guillaume's pretty creative with using every possible color. That's pretty cool, that little lick at the end. Let's listen one more time. Okay, so basically we've got our turnaround. We're going back to 1, right? It's just a big 2, 5, C dominant 7 to 1, right? Or and basically what Guillaume is doing here, I think, is he's just thinking 5. We already mentioned this before. It's good to just think when you have a 2-5, just to think 5. So because we've got G minor to C7, I think he's just thinking about C7 the whole time. And he's playing a C mixolydian scale. but he's got some little goodies happening to dress it up and make it sound a little bit slicker. The first thing I'm hearing is he's using that ghost note idea again. Do you see how on that second note? Kind of nice. But then when he starts his run, instead of starting on C for the C7, C Mixolydian chord, he actually raises that note, right? He alters it. So now we've got a raised first and actually a raised fourth too. Something like that. Now, what's going on there? Well, the dominant 7 has so much tension that the ear will pretty much accept anything you play as long as it kind of resolves quickly. Everything comes out in the wash. You could alter any note of a dominant scale or a Mixolydian scale and kind of get away with it in the same way Guillaume does here, okay? And the beauty of that is that he's still just thinking 5, right? He's still just thinking C, right? Like, for example, I could alter the 9th. So I'm going to raise the 9th, which is the note D, to D sharp. Nobody really minds that too much, right? Or I'll raise the 5th. A little bit spicier, but we can still be friends, right? So that is a really, really simple way to mentally stay in the same place and keep things simple, but add some flair and panache, and that was definitely something Grappelli would do all the time, right? He'd play a scale going up and alter a few notes, and then maybe come down and make them diatonic again. You can just have a ton of fun with that. And then here at the very top, he does something else that's kind of cool and a really important cliche that you should know. He uses something called the Bebop scale, or some people call it Barry Harris half-step rules. But basically what he's doing is he's inserting a little chromatic tone between the whole steps just to make the lick a little bit shorter and arrive on F, okay? There's a lot of great videos on, you know, Barry Harris and the Bebop scale and stuff like that. But essentially, you've got your flat 7 using the raised 7th on the offbeat in between, and then it resolves to our root, and then our raised or our flat second resolving to the natural second. And what this does is it puts all consonant notes on the beat while giving us a little bit of snaky chromaticism. Okay? Very, very common. And those are probably the two most common choices of where to put those chromatic tones when you're playing a Mixolydian type scale. Yeah, I should also say that that Bebop scale is extremely versatile and that you can use it kind of going in any directions. You can craft, you know, lines that move all over the place. So going back to C, dominant 7. Let's see here. Come on, freeze, work. Right. So I could go with, I could use it going down. Or I could go up then down. Right, all kinds of different possibilities there. Okay, moving on. Okay, I don't have a lot to say about this section. Pretty simple stuff, except be sure, as I mentioned before, to know your major and minor 6th chords when you play gypsy jazz, and that includes your, not just arpeggios, but your chord shapes. So for our root chord, most obviously here, you notice instead of playing just a triad, or a major 7 chord, which is what a lot of jazz players would do, notice he's like pumping and muting every other note. That's kind of nice, just taking the pressure off the strings. He's playing not 7th, but the 6th. Okay. Other than that, I don't. Not particularly interesting here. Let's see if we can get back to Guillaume's solo here. That's pretty cool. Let's listen to that again. Okay, one more time. Okay, this is no. So oh, guess what? Guess what he's doing here? Maybe you caught it before I did. He is playing the exact same magic arpeggio we talked about a minute ago, except this time just over the 1 chord. So again, if we think about this as an F 6th chord, right? Root 3rd, 5th, 6th, F major 6th chord, that's our tonic. If we just lower the root to the 7th, so now we have the 6th and the 7th, but no root, so it's kind of a little bit more suspended sounding, a little more interesting sounding, right? That's all this entire lick is. He's going back to the well. No wonder he can play so fast, right? If you're playing a lot of the same ideas, it's not as hard. So let me get the bowing here. Okay. Even that, with the schlocky slides, it's still the same for pitches, our magic arpeggio. And notice the schlock at the beginning too. He does the going up and then back down slide. And at the end, he does a little slide up and slide down too. So it's really good. Keep your ear open for all the slides. Let's watch that one more time. A lot of stuff going on. I love too how he's using his double down bows to keep and continually position himself to be in just the right part of the bow to execute the faster over the beat slurs, okay, the swing bowings, okay, check that out. Down, down, takes him right back to the same sweet spot, which is about here for most of us, depending on your bow. So, back to the sweet spot. Let me get that last thing again. Yeah. It's almost like it's very difficult to hear because of how he releases the pressure, right? But I'm pretty sure it's... right? Something like that. Okay, so here, he also starts with the same type of fading up and then bending the note back down. Okay, but this time he's added the note G. So he finally breaks out of the arpeggio here at the very end of the lick. Let's see if we can get the bowings though. Again, notice how on the long note, again, he uses it to totally position himself and get to the exact part of the bow he needs to then play the faster stuff. Okay? Oh, this is cool. I really like that motif with the ghosted little ghost note in between. So down, up, very easy to pull off in the upper half of the bow towards the tip. A lot harder to play that type of articulation in the lower half. Okay, and you don't want to overplay it either. Use just a tiny bit of bow, otherwise you'll play the note too long and lose your groove. Guillaume plays it really, really tiny. Go. Did you see it? Pretty charming. All right. Moving on. Okay, so here what Guillaume has going on is we're going to this minor chord progression where the G minor 6th is just descending from the root down to the 7th, the lowered 7th, the 6th, very common cliche. Right? And so he's just outlining a G melodic minor scale. Sorry, in tune. But he does something kind of special with the ornaments here. See if you can notice it. There it is. Did you see that? So he's doing that same kind of very, very fast, bending the note up and back down. It's almost, almost imperceptible, but it's there. And again, these little ornaments, particularly on the ends of notes or the last notes of phrases or motifs, really make a huge, huge difference in just adding specialness. Listen one more time. Now we've got another, this is really similar to the motif that we just practiced together. And that's a really cool one to work on. It's just kind of instant jazz or jazzy sound. You can try it. Let's try it in first position really quick. It's over basically a G minor chord. Okay, so the basic lick that he plays, right? But you can also practice it over your first finger or over open string. Right? There's just 100 different combinations of scale notes you can play with that same rhythm and bow feeling. And you can just generate a lot of ideas like Guillaume is right now. Okay, moving on. That's kind of cool. Let's listen to that one more time. So basically what's happening here is we've got like just a 2-5. Again, we're in the key of F, so that's just G to C. But Guillaume is, again, just thinking about the 5 chord. We talked about that earlier. You know, when you have a 2-5, a lot of the time it's faster, easier, less thinking, right? To just focus on the 5. And Guillaume's basically just playing like auxiliary tones, or framing chord tones from the 5 chord over the 2, and then over the 1 as well. Let's listen to that one more time. Okay, so right, so basically what's happening is he's framing the 3rd. That's E, the 3rd of the C, dominant 7th chord, and then he's sliding down to the root, basically emphasizing the root, and then he's just playing a C Mixolydian scale. Okay, sounds impressive, but it's just a C Mixolydian scale. Okay, so yeah, let's listen to that one more time. Yeah, and I think he's playing the scale kind of like a swing thing. Right? Kind of changing bow before each beat. Yada ba da ba da ba da ba. They're all triplets. That's kind of cool. But yeah, this you really want to practice having 4-note cells, basically, that outline chord tones, like Guillaume's doing here. I don't think my bowing's exactly right, but they're really, really versatile. Yeah, so you should have them based around like the 5, which in this case would be G, right? Around the 3, right? Right, around the 1, right, etc., etc. There's just like a million of them, and then you should practice either approaching them or leaving them, getting off them with different scale motifs, or even just chaining them together. Right? It's like you can just kind of keep going and going with that. Really important to have in your arsenal as a gypsy swing player and even as a jazz player as well. Oops. Okay, so it looks like we got 2 bars of our dominant 7 of our C. So he fills the second bar with another really simple cliche. It's just the tritone, right? So B flat is the 7th of a C dominant 7, and E is the 3rd, right? And resolves to F major 6, the 1 chord. Well, that's kind of cool. Notice that's another example of that left-hand ghosting thing. And on the 3rd one, he gives us that loose, wide, kind of sloppy, vibra slide sound that, again, is sort of a staple of gypsy jazz, right? If you want to sound gypsy jazz, you need that. I think we just heard our favorite chord, or 4-note arpeggio again. So he goes, now watch, coming down. And again, this is over a 1 chord, right? So He's using it now, again, over 1, not over 3/6, which is, I think, what it was before. But it's such a versatile shape and versatile sound, still works really well. And I think this is another example. Again, I think it's way easier to think of this as an F major 6th chord and just lower the roots, which in this case is F, to E. Okay, continuing on. Okay. Okay, so now we've got like an F7 going to B flat, right? Very familiar sound if you play blues and stuff, like 5/04 going 2/4. And I think in this case, he's just thinking about the F the entire time. So, so again, you know, if you want to think of this as like a, you know, like a 5/1 resolution, he's just thinking about that F chord, I think. So, we're introducing the note E flat because that's the 7th, right, of our 1/7 or 5/4. So resolving to the 5th of the F, 7th of the F. Now here he's enclosing the 5th of F and just coming down in F triad. Right? Yeah, you could easily leave out the B flat and the D, that enclosure, and it would still give you that same sound. It might be a little more lame. Sorry, that didn't sound very good. Let's try that again. I could go, right? Or that would still sound, kind of give us the same flavor, but these enclosures just add a little bit more tension while staying, you know, diatonic and nice, okay? And then, let's see here, and then he finishes off with a scale. Oh, let's see. Okay, so what's happening here is it's basically just an F Mixolydian scale coming down. Okay, it plays this little turn to skip the E, but you could just as easily as play, and it would give you the same flavor. Okay? Thinking about one chord while playing over two. Let's hear that one more time. Okay, so I'm definitely hearing we're getting ready for that walk up that we talked about in the beginning. Just B flat, B diminished, maybe A over C to D7, the 3/6 of the 3/6-2-5-1. And I'm just hearing the sound of the B flat 6th chord. Really important, again, to know your sixths, know your arpeggios, and know that sound. That's going to help you figure out music like this really quickly. And again, check out the double down bow happening again here, so we can get into the right place. Right? Dig that voice leading. Okay. at the end here, looks like he has a little bit of a memory slip or something, but I think what he's trying to play is ba da 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 da, which is the exact same arpeggio. It's the magic arpeggio once again. So I think what's happening here is when he goes up, he actually puts the root in. But when he comes back down, he leaves it out, which is, I think, kind of proof positive as he's resequencing this. That he is probably thinking about this magic arpeggio as just an altered version of an F chord or an F6th chord. Not altered as we normally talk about with dominant 7th chords, but just as a modified, I should say, version of an F major 6th chord that you can use all over the place. Let's see, does he take another chorus here? No, it looks like he's just going back to the melody. So I think this is a good place to stop. But hopefully you got a lot out of this. You got some great ideas. For me, some of the big takeaways are ghosting in the left hand. That's an easy one that you can just kind of start experimenting with and putting into your playing. Being sensitive about all of the different schmaltz notes. Or ways you can schmaltz, especially the last note of a phrase, and probably the first note too. Using double down bows and double up bows to get yourself into the right part of the bow. That's a huge part of his playing. Having a bunch of diminished licks, and of course the magic arpeggio shape, which Guillaume uses constantly in this solo. Hope you dug this. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like. And if we get up to 100 likes, I'll do another one of these live. If not, I'm going to keep posting them on IGC. And because we went over a lot of stuff here, and because the solo is only about 30 seconds, I'm going to have Moses transcribe this for Improviser's Guide to the Cello members and put it up on the site so you guys that are members can reference that as well. Also, if you want a free lesson where I will teach you a lot about the blind spots that have been holding you back in your playing and give you some super powerful ideas that are guaranteed to change your improvising life, you can click below and sign up for that. We're going to have a free class, another free class probably in about a month or so. So I'd love to see you for that as well. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.